Before accepting any historical custom blindly, we must check to see if it is sanctioned by the scriptures. Namaste, I am Pulkit Mathur, and as many of you are aware, the Sabarimala temple issue has risen up again. Because people have not been satisfied with the Supreme Court's judgment, which overturned the decades-old custom which barred women of menstruating age from entering the Sabarimala temple. Many have felt that by overturning the custom, the Supreme Court has attacked the Hindu faith, it has hurt people's sentiments, and it has interfered in people's beliefs and historical customs concerning the celibacy of Lord Ayyappa. If many Hindus, including the priests of the Sabarimala temple, believe that Lord Ayyappa's celibacy will get shaken or that Lord Ayyappa will get upset if women of menstruating age enter the shrine, then why must the judges of the Supreme Court decide against this belief? When many Hindus believe in something, then that is their faith, and faith cannot be questioned. Isn't that right? Actually, no, it is not right. There is a very big problem with this argument. The problem is that this type of faulty reasoning presupposes that everything that we Hindus do today or have done in the past, all our actions, all our beliefs, each and every custom which we practice or which our ancestors have practiced, all of it has been sanctioned by the Hindu scriptures and is a part of Hinduism. The truth, however, is quite the opposite. Many horrific customs and evil practices which are diametrically opposed to the noble, uplifting and oneness emphasizing teachings of the Hindu scriptures have in fact gotten added to the body of Hinduism in the passage of history. And like cancerous tumors growing within the body, they have sickened Hindu society and have caused the downfall of the Indian nation. Now the reason these cancerous tumors of evil practices have cropped up within Hinduism is because throughout history there has existed a strong human tendency to pervert even the most sacred of teachings, to twist and misuse these teachings to strengthen one's own position, power and control over others, to satisfy one's own greed, lust and other selfish tendencies. This is happening even today, as is evident from the criminal cases filed against numerous Hindu godmen who regularly pervert the teachings of the Tantra Shastras and of the Srimad Bhagavatam to rape women on the pretext of ridding them of bad spirits or awakening their kundalini or giving them enlightenment and samadhi through the act of sex or loving them like Krishna loved the gopis. And since most Hindus are not familiar with the teachings of their own scriptures because they have never read them, they easily fall prey to such perverted claims. In the same way, grotesque perversions have been happening in the past too. Therefore, we must never let our guard down. We must be ultra-vigilant against any hijacking and perversion of Hinduism. We must bear in mind that every custom and tradition handed down by history cannot be blindly accepted as being a part of Hinduism, as being sanctioned by the God-realized rishis who wrote our scriptures. Because if we were to blindly accept each and every historical tradition, then we will be putting ourselves in the sorry position of supporting the numerous atrocities and injustices that have been carried out in the name of Hinduism throughout history. Atrocities such as the Devadasi tradition, which was carried out in many temples, in which young girls were married off to the temple deity and then used as objects to satisfy the lust of the kings and the priests who ran those temples. Atrocities such as the caste system, which is again not sanctioned by the Hindu scriptures. The discriminatory caste system is in fact completely opposed to two central teachings of the Vedas, which preach that divinity resides within all human beings because each person's soul is a part of God. Tat Tvam Asi and Ayam Atma Brahma are these two teachings from the Vedas. And so when God resides within the soul of all, then how can there be any room for discrimination or ill treatment of others? There cannot be. So the caste system is another tremendous perversion of our Hindu scriptures brought about by the upper caste who wanted to preserve social privileges for themselves and their children. But if we were to accept the discriminatory caste system as right, just because our ancestors practiced it for thousands of years, then we too would be dishonoring the Ayam Atma Brahma teaching of the Shastras, and we too would be committing the heinous act of referring to other Hindus as achut or untouchables and supporting the inhumane and demonic custom of banning them from entering temples or preventing them from walking on the same road as the temples. We would not be eating food cooked by them or drinking water touched by them. Furthermore, we would also be supporting a most vile custom which our ancestors from Kerala practiced, in which lower caste women were not allowed to wear a blouse or any other garment to cover their chest while walking in public. We would be supporting this utter disrespect, abuse and molestation of the Matra Shakti or the Mother Force by select Brahmins and priests who dreamed up of this horrific custom, and the silent upper caste majority which kept quiet and allowed it to go on. We would also be supporting the decrees of many priests of the past who have claimed that women should not read the Vedas, they should not chant the Gayatri Mantra, they should not get an education, and that girls should be married off as children. This is just a small sampling of the numerous atrocities which abound in Indian history, in which women and those categorized as lower castes and untouchables were brutally targeted, all in the name of Hinduism. So before we go about accepting any tradition or custom blindly, even if it is imposed by a temple and its priests or by some guru or godman, we must stop and think, is this custom really supported and sanctioned by the Hindu scriptures? Or is it a perverted belief handed down by history? We must recall the words of Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya, परंपराओं की तुलना में विवेक को महत्व दो. Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya of the Gayatri Parivar and Swami Dayanand Saraswati of the Arya Samaj are two sages of our recent times who fought to restore women's right to chant the Gayatri Mantra and to read the Vedas, which the priests had disallowed in the Middle Ages. For this, both had to face tremendous opposition from the priestly class, including threats to their life. But they persisted, and today women can freely chant the Gayatri Mantra and read the Vedas all over India. Therefore, if we truly love our Vedic culture, if we truly love Hinduism, then we owe it to our Rishi ancestors that their teachings of equality, oneness, and respect for women do not get perverted by vested interests with devious and prejudiced minds. We must make sure that the Hindu religion does not become a tool of discrimination against God's own children, such as it has become in the case of the Sabarimala shrine, where the Matra Shakti of the nation, where the mothers of the nation are being cast aside as being too impure, too polluting and too unworthy to enter God's temple. All because they patiently undergo the natural process of menstruation so that they can give birth to us. We must ask ourselves, if menstruation makes women so spiritually unfit that they cannot even stand before an idol in the temple, how is it that they could stand and face God at the time of Samadhi or God realization? For we know that numerous women attained to Samadhi and God realization and became the mantra drashtas of many suktas of the Rig Veda, the highest text of Hinduism. Ghosha, Vishwavara, Apala, Aditi, Indrani, Yami, etc. were all God-realized Rishikas who composed many of the mantras of the Rig Veda. But if women caused the Brahmacharya of God to shake, as the legend of Lord Ayyappa tells us, then how did these women Rishikas see God face to face in Samadhi? Not only this, how did Sita and Radha in ancient times, and Sharda Ma, Anandmayi Ma, Mother Meera, Mata Bhagwati Devi Sharma in our modern times, how did all these women attain to Samadhi if menstruation made them impure? We must question ourselves. And if we do, then the answer will bubble up that the legend associated with Sabarimala, that menstruating aged women caused the Brahmacharya of Lord Ayyappa to shake, is patently false. Because if it was so, then how come the Brahmacharya of Lord Hanuman did not shake in the company of Ma Sita, who was the most beautiful princess in the world? It did not, because Lord Hanuman, like Lord Ayyappa, was God himself, and God being a perfect being does not distinguish between man and woman. Both are equally his children. The sex distinction is only in the body. The soul of every person is divine. With this thought, let me end this video. Thanks for watching, and we shall meet again in the next one.